So is the Stampede 4x4 a good RC or not so great? In this video, we will share that with you. Hint, hint, it's our favorite basher. How's it going, guys? Josh here with Trax RC, and today we will be going over 5 good things and 5 bad things about the Traxxas Stampede 4x4. Before we start, we just want to invite you guys over to check out our website and also our Facebook page. At our website, you can find general information about us, our channel, and some of our RC cars. And then on our Facebook page, you guys will see behind the scenes stuff that is not shown on the channel. You'll see videos before anyone else does. And it's just another way for you guys to interact with us. And of course, you will find links to our website and our Facebook page down below in the description. And if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and click that notification bell so you get updates anytime we post a video. Now with all that out of the way, the first good thing about a Stampede 4x4 is that it has amazing parts availability, just like a ton of other Traxxas vehicles. You can find a lot of Stampede 4x4 aftermarket parts on a lot of websites. You could pretty much get every single part upgraded on this RC. And if you break it, it will not be hard to find the right part that you need. Moving on to number 2, for the good things about a Stampede 4x4 is that it performs really well. Depending on whether you're running on a nickel metal hydride battery, a 2S LiPo, or a 3S LiPo, depending on which model you have, it's just really easy to drive. And it definitely stays planted very well. So next is number 3, and this thing is really easy to work on. From swapping out a link to replacing the chassis, it does not take you that long, and it's really not that hard. For example, the whole front end is held together to the chassis with only 5 screws, and the rear end is only held to the chassis with 4 screws. And even though there isn't a lot of screws holding the front and rear clips onto the chassis, it's still very rigid. Next on the list is number 4, and that would be the Stampede 4x4 is so much fun to drive. If you have the brushless model, you can do flips, wheelies, you can go fast, and so much more. You can do backflips off of little small jumps, or you can do them off huge ramps. And if you put a wheelie bar on the back, you can hold those wheelies for a very long amount of time. If you have the brush model, you can't do as many of those things, but it is still a lot of fun. Moving on to number 5, this thing is good for beginners or experienced hobbyists. It really does not matter your experience level with the Stampede. And that's because you can have it just like an average RC car, not too fast, just you want to hit a few jumps here and there, just drive around the backyard at a decent speed, or you can go absolutely nuts and put a 4S system in here. Not a lot of people do that, but it is crazy what this thing does on 4S. Just don't put a 4S battery in this thing when it's stock. The system can't handle it. But I would like to see Traxxas make a 4S Stampede. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Alright, so what's bad about a Stampede 4x4? For starters, the body is absolute trash. And honestly, that's being kind of nice. This body's so bad because it just simply does not hold up. It will always crack around where the body posts go through the body, not so much in the front. It will happen to the rear first. You can see that we strengthened it a little bit on this body, but what it does is it always cracks around this area, and then the back of your body's flapping around, and sometimes the front body post will just go completely through the body. If Traxxas can redesign the body to make it stronger around the body post, then it would be a really good body actually, because this one doesn't have any cracks on it besides around the body post. If you're a beginner and you're not really beating it too hard, or you're just giving it to your kids just to drive around, you're not really jumping and all that, this body will last you a little while. But if you're going to do some hardcore stuff, you're going to want a really strong body. We would recommend the Proline Brute Bash Armor. We do have a few gripes with this body here and there, but the positives totally outweigh the negatives. It's made out of an indestructible material that it's not gonna break. The only crack that we have in this body is right in this corner, and that's not even from crashing it. It's just from skidding it on the back, and it just wore through. Other than the little crack right here in the corner, this body is in excellent condition. It does have a lot of scratches, but that's to be expected. So moving on, the second bad thing about a Stampede 4x4 is that it just has a really weak driveline. Now this is more for if you have a Stampede 4x4 VXL, the brushless model. If you have the brush model, you can get by. However, if you do have the VXL system in your Stampede 4x4, the drivetrain is just not gonna last. The biggest weak spot of the driveline is the drive shafts. front, rear, and center. They all need to be upgraded. On this truck, we have Techno RC M6 front drive shafts and rear drive shafts, and then we have their big bone center drive line. We've also had a lot of differential issues with this RC. First of all, we've stripped out the ring and pinion in the rear twice, and then in the front once. And that's why we upgraded to the Traxxas spiral cut gears in the front and rear. They're just so much better. We have not had a problem since installing those a few months ago. And also with the differential in the rear, we've stripped out the inside spider gears one time, and we upgraded to the XO1 diff gears and have not had a problem since. But the gears in the front differential are still stock, and we don't think we need to upgrade those just yet. And we'll put a link to the playlist right up here where we went through a whole series of upgrading the differentials in this truck. So moving on, the third bad thing about a Stampede 4x4 is that it has a weak suspension. The shocks are just not that durable. The caps will pop off all the time and you'll bend shock shafts. Upgrade those and you should be fine with the shocks. And that's really all you have to do to the suspension. You could definitely go a lot further and get different links, A-arms, shock towers, and all that, but we would start off with the shocks. So next up, the fourth bad thing about this truck is that it's just pretty slow and kind of sluggish when it's stock, in our opinion at least. Now this is more for the brushless model. That model comes with the 11-tooth pinion gear, and that's what we're running right now, but we upgraded the differentials to the spiral cut ring and pinion gears, and those have a higher gear ratio, so it just makes the truck a lot faster. But on the stock brushless truck, if you run 2S with the stock gearing, it's just not that fast. If you run 3S with the stock gearing, it's a little bit better, but what we like to do is run a 3S lipo. We like to run the stock pinion gear and the stock spur gear, but like I said, we upgraded the differentials to a higher gear ratio, and also they're a lot stronger. And then we also had some cooling issues, so we had to get this CSC fan and also this heat sink for the motor. If you want to go the cheaper route, instead of getting the differential ring and pinion gears for the front and the rear to get that higher gear ratio and maximum durability for your differentials, just get a 13-tooth pinion gear instead. We ran a 13-tooth pinion in this thing for a long time, and we loved it like that. But like I previously mentioned, we kept on stripping the ring and pinion gear in the front and rear, so we upgraded the ring and pinion in the front and rear, and then we dropped the pinion gear because the ring and pinion that we got was a different gear ratio, blah blah blah. Like I said, there's going to be a link right up here to the playlist where we upgraded the differentials on this truck, and that goes over everything. And it's going to make a lot more sense to you guys if you watch that playlist. So number 4 is that it is slow when stock. Basically, geared up a little bit, like 2 teeth on the pinion, or get the new ring and pinion gear for the front and rear, and obviously run 3S if you have the brushless model. If you have the brush model, it's gonna be slow anyway. I would just run the 2S lipo instead of the nickel metal hydride battery, and probably not even gear it up at all. So the last bad thing about a Stampede 4x4 that we're gonna mention in this video is that it has weak steering. Specifically, the servo saver spring integrated into the belt cranks is too soft. Now we actually made a whole video fixing this issue, and we'll link that right up here so you guys can watch that. And if you want to make the steering more responsive and have more power, you can always upgrade the servo. In this RC, we're running the Power HD 20 kg servo, and it's perfect for this. So that was our 5 pros and 5 cons of the Stampede 4x4. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with our list? If you don't, drop a comment down below and let us know what your 5 pros and 5 cons of the Stampede 4x4 are. This list was purely based on our experience with this truck, nothing to do with anyone else. So if you own a Stampede 4x4, let us know what your experience has been like with this truck. Because for us, it's been great. We absolutely love this thing, despite everything that's gone wrong with it. So that is it for this video, guys. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time on Trax RC.